This time of year can be a very stressful period of time for so many of us when there is so much going on in our physical lives, but also there can be so much going on in our hearts and in our minds and in our souls. And I'm here to help you this week to shift some of those stresses and help you reveal the joy that is present in every single person's life. And today I want to start with one of the biggest topics that the majority of people have written back to me and to ask about, and is how do you cope? How do you deal with grief and loss during this very, very emotional and highly emotive period of time? Now, for those of you who haven't heard my full story, I lost my mum I started losing my mum in 2004 and 5 when she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And it felt like every single year we grieved a loss of a part of my mum's personality. And that was really tough on all of us, especially when all she ever dreamt about was being a granny, and my boys were very little at the time. We sadly lost her in 2016 to pneumonia, and it was very sudden and very sad. But I also look back on that period of time of 7 days as she died as being one of the happiest times that I had with my dad and my sister, as we reminisced and as we just told the stories of my mum's really, really beautiful life. So I want to help you today with a couple of mindset shifts and a few simple strategies that you can help ease your pain, ease your sadness through this period of time. And the first mindset shift, God, I'm going to have to put my teeth in to say that, otherwise I might swear. That mindset shift actually came from James's cousin. She lost her mum very young and really tragically. And when my mum died, she sent me this beautiful message that I want to share with you. And she just said, when somebody dies, when we lose a loved one, it can feel like we've got this huge hole left in our heart, huge gaping hole. And it definitely felt like that with me. My mum was such a big presence in my life. She loved so much, and you felt her love, and not having that presence in my life made my heart feel very, very heavy and just utterly heartbroken. And so Car said to me, she said, our job in grief, and one of the things that can really help us with the grieving process, is to start to fill that hole with all of the memories and love the memories that we had and we made with our loved one. So that was one of the biggest things that helped me through that period of my grief, was to reminisce and look at all the happy memories to fill that hole. So the three little things that I want to help you with, three really simple techniques. Firstly, for those of you who are living with someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, or living and loving with someone with Alzheimer's and dementia, it is a really heartbreaking time, and actually probably worse for those of us who are witnessing those going through that loss. And I'm working with a wonderful client at the moment to help her make those memories while she still can. And this was one of the real intentions that I set with my mum, was while she was still there, I had this rare opportunity to continue to make memories. And it's rather than avoiding them, because it's hard and it's not easy when they have Alzheimer's, but it was actually just this acceptance that they weren't going to be who they were, but I could still continue to allow myself to make these beautiful memories and take photographs and really be this witness to, very tragically, the end of their life. And this was really beautiful. So I have this beautiful bank of memories that, even though that my mum wasn't purely all her, I still have beautiful photographs of us together and with the boys, and really enjoying that. So I live with no regrets that we really involved her in the end of her life, even if she wasn't physically and mentally and emotionally who she was for the majority of her life. So that's my first strategy, my first little coping mechanism that I would love to impart with you. The second one was when, after my mum died, was another mindset shift, and something that I heard or read, I can't remember, but it really helped me. So I want to share this with you in case it helps you too, was that actually we die 3 times. The first time we die is when we take our last breath, or where somebody takes their last breath. The second time is when our physical form has completely left this earthly plane. And the third time we die is when someone last utters our name. So I saw it as my role and my family's role to keep my mum alive by continuing to reminisce and share the stories and look at the photographs and continue in her tradition. So some of the simple things that I do, especially over Christmas, is that I use her decorations. She loved Christmas and she had so many decorations. So I spent some lovely time just on my own with my mum in her energy and putting up the decorations that she used to have and we used to have as a child. Another thing that I love to do as well, it's quite a cheeky one, is that I always love to buy my mum a present. I'm buying my mother-in-law a present, so I also love to buy my mum a present, and it's a present that I will use on her behalf. And it's just something lovely that I'm just thinking of her. You know, what do we say with presents? It's like, it's the thought that counts. And it's like, I'm thinking of my mum, and she would have been 80 something right now. And it's just like, what would she love right now? I'm going to buy that in her name, in her honor, and appreciate it on her behalf. So that's just one of my little things that I love to do, traditions, and also just using and buying gifts and just keeping her alive and having those stories and those memories. And then the third thing I just want to remind you is that it is okay not to be okay. Christmas, the festive period, is a really highly emotive period of time, and it's okay for us to feel. This is not the time to be suppressing or stopping or avoiding our emotions. The very word emotion actually has the solution in its wording: emotion. Energy and motion. All of our feelings are energies in our bodies, and energies are meant to flow. So if we can allow our energies to move, let them be in motion, this just means that they are not going to be making us feel heavy or stagnant in our body. It's allowing ourselves to cry. And I remember I've cried so many times for my mum. I allow myself to cry, and it's just, it can bring with it this beautiful lightness afterwards. And I always love to think of it as a beautiful sadness. I had the capacity, just as my mum was dying, to have this incredible sadness, this heavy heartedness, the releasing and the letting go of my mum so that she could pass on and be in a better place, but also just having incredible laughter and reminiscing over those stories. And I was able to hold that memory of those 7 days of saying goodbye to my mum was beautiful in its sadness, because it allowed us to reminisce and laugh and be happy at the same time as my mum was going. And you know what? The last her memories, I really hope and I love to believe, is that she heard us laughing and enjoying and sending her on her way with love. Everything that I believe about grief is, the antidote is always love, isn't it? You know, we can look at that and say that the magnitude of our grief is directly proportionate to the magnitude of how much we loved, and that's okay. We're allowed to cry. There are just beautiful tears of happiness and joy and gratitude for the fact that we've been able to love, and it's okay to feel these wealth of emotions in a highly emotive time. And if you've got a family like mine, I just tend to warn them. I'm feeling quite emotional, I might cry, so I don't have to suppress it. So if you have loved and lost or are losing anyone this Christmas, I hope this message of hope brings you some joy this Christmas. And do share with me what you're taking away and what traditions you want to keep alive, and how you are going to remain in that beautiful state of love and joy and peace. And I'm sending you all of the same. So much love. Lots of love.